Hello, welcome to your 30-minute rebuild session. I'm Sam. I'll be taking you through this class, and I've got Hannah here joining me. Hannah will be taking the first layer of each exercise so you can follow her. Otherwise, throughout, I'll be adding on different layers to add a little bit more challenge as we move along so you can follow me as well. You can play some music by clicking the link below. Otherwise, we will get started. Today we're going to be focusing a little bit more on arms, but it will be a full body workout as well. So starting on 4-point kneeling here, your shoulders are going to come over top of those wrists and your hips will be stacked on top of those knees. Just going to place the top of our feet down into the mat here. Warming up with some cat-cow, going to drop your belly slightly towards the mat, starting to look upwards with your eyes, and then we reverse, dropping your eyesight to your thighs, stretching the back of our t-shirt up towards the ceiling. We go again, lifting those eyes and dropping them. So taking these first few to just ease into this move, starting to deepen at each end with every rep. You may want to move with your breathing here. So inhaling as our belly drops down. Exhaling as we press up towards the ceiling. That's it. We'll go for 2 more here. Really stretching up and dropping down. 1 more. We're going to find a in-between position between those 2 ends. So I want you to tuck your tailbone ever so slightly, which is just going to help draw that core in, keeping those abdominals nice and engaged. Staying in this 4-point kneeling here, shifting our weight into the left palm, taking our right fingertips behind our head here. I want you to really press down through that left palm, lifting up through that left shoulder, so we're lifting that chest away from the mat here. From this point, we're going to take our right elbow down towards our left. If you've got that mobility, you can tap elbow to elbow. We're going to open it up, taking that right elbow over to the sky, opening that chest up. We go again, rotating down and up. So when we're rotating down, remembering to keep that chest lifted, we don't want to collapse down into it. I want you to rotate down, staying nice and lifted. Nice work. Moving with nice control here. The next time you rotate up, we're going to lengthen our fingers long, straightening that arm. Dropping under, threading through, dropping that right shoulder all the way down. Pressing through that left palm, we open up to the side again. Seeing if we can twist a little bit further. Threading that arm under. 1 more like this. Opening up, we're holding at the top for 3, 2, 1, threading all the way under, dropping that shoulder down, holding here, lengthening our left fingers long overhead, straightening out that arm. We're here for 3, 2, 1, placing our left hand back, coming back to 4-point kneeling. We sit back into our heels, rolling out those wrists here. Then we're going to come into that other side. So finding that 4-point kneeling again, making sure our tailbone is ever so slightly tucked under, drawing that belly in, keeping that nice and engaged. Shifting that weight into our right palm, left fingertips come behind our head. Pressing up through that palm, lifting that chest. We rotate our left elbow down to our right and then up to the ceiling. Taking these first few to ease into that rotation, working with your range. That's it. Moving with control here. That's it. So as you can see, Hannah's staying nice and lifted through her chest. She's really pressing down through that right palm, lifting that shoulder up nice and high. That's it. The next time we rotate up, we're going to extend those left fingertips nice and long. Thread them under, dropping that left shoulder down. We go again, reaching up, seeing if we can twist a little bit further, that's it. And then coming under. We go again, all the way up. We've got one more here. Reaching up, holding, seeing if we can twist a little bit further for 3, 2, 1, dropping down, reaching behind you, letting that shoulder sit, maybe extending those right fingers long here. Just breathing into this. We're here for 3, 2, and 1. Placing that right palm down, sitting back into our heels. We're going to come to a high kneeling position here. We'll give those arms a little bit of a rest before we move on. So we're just going to fire up those glutes, coming into some kneeling squats. So our hands are just going to begin on our hips here. We're going to crease at that hip bone, send them back, and then kneeling tall. So our hips go back. You can either sit them down onto your heels if you need, or we're going to hover them ever so slightly before we're lifting, squeezing at the top, dropping down, and lift. That's it. So thinking about staying nice and open through our chest here. If you want to add on a little bit more, you can reach your fingers long as we drop down, standing tall, reaching long, and tall. That's it. So bringing a little bit of focus into that core as well, making sure that belly button is drawn in towards our spine. So we're knitting those round, keeping that all supported there. Nice and controlled as we lower down, squeezing at the top. We're here for 5 more reps, moving through at your own pace. That's it. Squeeze those glutes. Go for 3 more. Last 2. Last 1. All the way down and all the way up. Good work. All right. Coming back into that 4-point kneeling position. We're going to be moving into some tricep work here. So again, your hips are stacked on top of those knees and your hands are underneath those shoulders. To ease us into this, we're just going to be moving in a half range. So drawing that belly up, pressing that chest away from the mat. We're going to bend at the elbows, sending them backwards to your halfway point. Pressing down, we lift. Lowering to halfway and lift. So a nice small movement here. That's it. Controlling down and up. While we're still working in this smaller range, I want you to start to lift those fingers up off the mat. So we're just pressing down through the palms. Nice. That's it. If you want a little bit more challenge here, you can start to lower your chest down further, working into that full range. Really pressing down through those palms as we lift. That's it. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, give me one more rep, 1, sitting back, rolling out those wrists, giving those shoulders a bit of a roll. We're going to come through that one more time. So when you're ready, coming back up into that 4-point kneeling position. This time, if you want to add a little bit more challenge, you can step your hands away a little bit further, shifting that weight forward again so that your shoulders are over top of your wrists. We're going to do this from a high plank. If this is too much, you can come back to the 4-point kneeling here. So starting off with that half press here. When you're ready, bending at the elbow, find that halfway point, press up. We lower down nice and controlled and lift. That's it. So you'll really start to feel the backs of our arms working here. You can see Hannah's chest is still nice and lifted away from that mat. She's controlling herself as she goes down. Remember, if we want a little bit more challenge, we can lift those fingers. Nice, good work, Hannah. You may feel a little bit of shakes coming on. That's it. If you want a little bit more here, we start to move into that full range. That's it. So lowering down and press. We're here for 5, for 4, 3, that's it, you got it, 2, last one, all the way down, all the way up, sitting back to child's pose, opening those knees, reaching those fingertips nice and long. Taking a big breath here, and then walking those fingertips up so you are in a low kneeling position. We are going to come up to standing. So when you're ready, standing nice and tall. I'm just going to start with some big arm circles to get them nice and loose. So starting with our right hand, drawing up and behind, nice big circles. 2 more. Last one here, going with the left, opening up. That's it, 2 more. Last one, going with both hands here. Really loosening up, creating that mobility through those shoulder joints. 1 more here. All right, so there's a couple options for our next phase here. We're going to be focusing on the arms. You can either do it from a standing upright position, which is just going to focus on the arms and it's going to ease your core from doing a lot of work. It'll still be working to help us stay upright, but it'll just be a little bit less demanding there. Otherwise, we will be bending ever so slightly from the hips. Maybe you have a soft bend in those knees, really engaging that core to hold this position. You may tuck that tailbone slightly. Your shoulders will be rolled up and down, and we will be moving from this position here. So either coming to that standing tall or this slightly bent position, both positions really lengthening through the crowns of our head. Our fingertips are going to come down, pointing all the way to the mat, lengthening those arms towards the ground. Squeezing that core on. We're going to open both of our arms out wide, squeezing our shoulder blades together, closing them down, pointing to the ground. We open up and down. That's it. So I want you to think about having a orange between your shoulder blades here. And every time you're opening, you're really squeezing them tight. That's it, nice and controlled, really lengthening through. That's it. If we're standing tall, you're moving with Hannah, reaching our hands out to the side Still creating that squeeze sensation between our shoulder blades. You may not necessarily be juicing that orange, but we're still drawing them closer together. That's it. Now I want you to think about moving through a really thick substance. So like really thick, deep water or a molasses type of substance. So you're creating more resistance for those arms, even though we're just moving through air. So you're almost adding opposite forces as you're moving here. Seeing if we can reach those fingertips a little bit longer. That's it. We're here for 3, 2, 1. Holding those hands open here. So if we're standing, we're going to be starting here. Our fingertips are going to come all the way up overhead, palms facing forward, bending the elbows, finding that cactus, reaching long, bending down. That's it. If we're bent over here, same thing, reaching those hands overhead, palms towards the mat, bending both elbows here, finding those cactus arms, reaching long. So again, moving with that resistance, finding that control. You may start to feel those arms burn a little bit. That's where we breathe through, really activate those muscles as we reach nice and long, squeezing down, finding those cactus arms. Remembering to keep that core tucked in, supporting our lower back. Good work. We're almost there. Reaching long and we squeeze back. Here for 3 more seconds. 2, 1. Finding those cactus arms here. We're going to bend, bring those cactus arms close together, closing that book, and then opening them up wide, closing here. So if you're standing tall, Hannah's got you covered. Really sending that energy through the crowns of our head. So we're moving through a little bit more of the shoulders here. So we're opening up, wanting to get those elbows, if you're with me, in line with our shoulders before we close, squeezing them together. Maybe we close them all together before we open, bringing those elbows down. That's it. When we close here, really stretching the back of our t-shirt nice and wide across our backs, squeezing together. We're here for 5 more seconds. That's it. Last 3, 2, 1. Finding those cactus arms, reaching overhead, standing tall, big stretch up to the ceiling, coming nice and wide. Giving those shoulders a little bit of a roll, bringing that right arm across in front of you will give it a little bit of a stretch. Still standing nice and tall, grounding yourself through those feet. And over to the left side. That's it. We're just going to do a quick little standing leg series before we come back down onto the mat. If you are feeling any tension or pressure within that pelvic region, you can come back down onto the mat to do that kneeling option that we did before. Hannah's got you. So our feet will be underneath our hips and fingertips either on our hips or pointing down. When we're ready, we're going to squat down, reach those fingertips long, standing tall, squeezing here. Lower ourselves down nice and controlled. That's it. So we're going over control here rather than pace. I want you to really feel that resistance as you lower down and again as you press up and away. Maybe your toes float up off the mat ever so slightly, really shifting that weight back into our heels as we lower down and press away. Awesome work. We're here for 8 more seconds. You can see Hannah's still staying nice and open through her chest, really squeezing forward when we come up into that high position. All right, last 3, 2, and 1, standing nice and tall. We're going to come down onto the mat here. So staying in that high kneeling position, our left leg is going to come out wide here. If that is too much, you can stay kneeling. Our fingertips are going to come into a big T here, really stretching at either end. Starting off nice and tall, we want to keep our hips square facing forward. So those are going to keep us grounded here. From this point, we're going to reach over to the left, keeping that straight arm, and then back here. So we're just reaching along in a horizontal line to begin with, then back to that start. We reach, stand tall. So I just want you to move within that range. Where you feel that start to really kick in through those obliques, we snap back. That's it. We're here for 3, 2, 1. We're going to reach, hold ever so slightly. We're only here for 3, 2, 1. Back to the center, sitting back into those heels. Shrugging those shoulders in a nice big circle here. We're going to come into that same side one more time, and then we will get onto the next. So when you're ready, kneeling back up again. Shooting those left toes out, finding that T position. We reach long, coming back up. So you can stay here if this is enough for you, or you may want to start to add on. So as we reach, we pause, rotate those fingertips down to the mat, back up, coming tall. So we're just adding on a little bit of further rotation as we go down towards the mat there. Again, just moving within that range. You know your body, work with how it's feeling today. That's it, reaching long. We're here for 5, 4, finding that hold in 2, 1, reaching long. So we're just reaching along that horizontal line here. We're here for 3, 2, 1. We can't stand tall and sit back into those heels. Roll those shoulders out. Take a big breath in here, coming into that other side. So when you're ready, kneeling up. Right foot comes long. We find that T position here. And we reach over to the left. Snapping back, that's it. So making sure our hips are staying square that whole time. Giving that left glute a nice squeeze, making sure it's keeping us stable. Reaching a little bit further. That's it. We're here for 3, and then we're coming into that hold in 2, and 1. Reaching long, holding here for 3, 2, 1. Coming back to center, sitting back down, giving yourself a little roll. And then we're coming back into that for our final round here. So toes come out long, finding that T. When you're ready, reaching long, coming back to center. If you want to add on that rotation, you can move with me now. That's it. Thinking about easing yourself down, keeping yourself facing forward. So we're really moving through those right obliques here. That's it. Seeing if we can reach a little bit further. Keep stretching those fingertips away from each other. We've got 5 more seconds. And then we're coming into that hold. Last 2. And 1. Reaching now. We're holding for 3, for 2, for 1. Coming back to center, sitting down. All right, that was a lot of counting on my behalf there. Cool. Coming onto our bums here. We're going to move through a little bit more arm work to finish us off before getting into a little bit of core. So our feet are going to be about hip distance apart here, pressing down into the mat. We're going to be focusing on pressing down through those heels. So if your toes lift up, that is good. It means we're really grounding through the heel part of our foot. Our fingers are going to be pointing towards our toes here, pressing our palms down into the mat. From this position, we're going to lift our hips up towards the ceiling, finding that reverse tabletop, dropping our hips down to the mat. That's it. So we're just lifting up, seeing if we can level our hips and our knees, and dropping down. So moving through at your own pace here, really pressing down through the palms of our hands, through those heels of our feet. Our eyes move with our body here. So as we press up, our eyes go to the ceiling. As we drop, they look in front of us. That's it. Seeing if we can press a little bit higher, opening that chest up, really shining it through as we lift up. We want to lengthen through that spine. That's it, really controlling our hips as we lower them down, squeezing our glutes, squeezing everything as we lift up. That's it. You can stay here or you can add on a pulse at the top. So we lift, hold, pulse down, lift up, drop all the way. We lift, drop an inch, lift. Back to the start. If you need to take a break at all, just sit down onto your bum, take a moment, then join us back in. We're here for 10 more seconds, moving through at our own paces. That's it, team, almost there. Squeezing up a little bit higher. We're here for 3. Last 2. And 1, sitting down here, straightening those legs out nice and long, bringing them as wide as that mat, walking our hands forward, just letting our head start to get heavy, drop here. You may have a small bend through those knees, just giving a little bit of a stretch, reach those fingertips away from you. 1 big breath. All the way out, and then coming all the way up to seating. All right. So we're going to curl ourselves down here, propping ourselves up onto our elbows. I want you to tuck that tailbone under here, really pressing that down into the mat. We want to curl our shoulders forward, so we're really creating a nice C shape in that spine. From here, you're going to float your right toes up to tabletop, float your left toes up. If this is too much, you can place both feet down and move one at a time from that position. From here, we're going to tap our right toes down, lifting up, left toes down, and up. That's it. You can stay here. If you want a little bit more challenge, you can start to straighten those toes long, lifting up. That's it. Remembering at any stage, you can move with Hannah here, starting with those feet on the ground. Really lengthening those toes, pointing them, whether they're bent or straight. That's it. We're here for 5 more seconds. Last 3, 2, and 1. Floating both legs to tabletop here, squeezing them together. This time we're going to lengthen our right toes up to the ceiling, place them down, lift, and up. That's it. Really straighten those legs as we can. Maybe we reach them a little bit lower. Nice and away. Beautiful. We've got 2 more on each side. Straightening it out, keeping that C curve in that spine. Last one. Here. We're going to come back up to sitting, giving our shoulders a big shrug and down. Left hand comes down to the mat. Reach those fingertips over. And we go back the other way. And back to center. That is our 30-minute rebuild class done for today. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Your arms got a nice workout. Please leave any comments below. Let us know if you loved it, and we will see you next time.